Mongoose Jake here with another video. This time, this is going to be something very similar to what I did some time back on finding the best stock darts for your blaster. And that's basically what we're going to be looking at. We're going to take the old standby Nerf Elites, Nerf Hacky Strikes, my personal current favorite of the Precise Pro from Busby's long distance darts, X-Shot Excel darts, and then comparing them to most of these actually have already been tested in that previous video, but the newcomers that weren't included would have been, I did not test the Precise Pro in that previous video. The long distance darts, I don't believe that they were in that, because at the time it was their previous darts. The X-Shot Excel were, but the new waffle tips from Dart Zone, as you can see there, that is the waffle. And I used the E-Kind waffles to represent what was at the time the current best aftermarket dart. In this case, we have a AccuStrike copy from NF Strike, and that's representing like the current status of, best aftermarket dart. So what I'm going to do is the same as what I did in that video, way back when. I'm going to do a range test with a stock blaster to see how these would perform in a blaster you could just pick up off the shelf, because of course, if you modify, you can just do whatever you want with your performance. But we're going to use a stock blaster. In this case, it's going to be the Nerf Modulus Mediator. I do have a worker stock on it, but that's just for my personal comfort. That Mediator is 100% stock, unchanged internally. And then I'm going to do a high velocity accuracy test, which, not extreme velocity, just 110 feet per second recon as running full Orange Mod Works internals, and it does fire on the chronograph around 110 to 115 feet per second. I'll use that for a accuracy test, or it's not really an accuracy test, more of a consistency test, we'll call it. But we will start firing with the Nerf Elites on the left, then moving to the AccuStrikes, then the Precise Pros, the Busby long distance darts, the X-Shot Excel, the Dart Zone, which also Adventure Force waffle tips, and then the NF Strike AccuStrike copies to represent the aftermarket AccuStrike versions. We'll do a sped up range firing, and then I'll do the consistency test afterwards. But here we go. Starting with Nerf Elites. These are going to be fired at shoulder height, and I will keep the blaster perfectly level, and I will actually keep the magazine right here on screen. I'm standing just behind the tape, and this isn't necessarily about how far they go, but it's how far they go compared to their competition. So here we go, and I'm gonna speed everything up, so I'll tone down the sound. On to the AccuStrikes. Busby Precise Pros. Busby long distance darts. X-Shot Excel darts. Dart Zone / Adventure Force waffle tips. Slide that back in. Lastly, the NF Strike AccuStrike copies. And we're empty. Let's go check those ranges. First one was a dud. There is a slight crossing wind, but that should not affect ranges, it would affect consistency. And I was standing about 5 feet behind the tape itself. That's where the camera was positioned. So add that to the actual number on the tape. That was at about 17 feet, so about 23. That's the first dart. And here's our next dart we run into, which is an X-Shot Excel. At about 23, so again, I was standing about 5 feet behind the start of the tape, so add that. And it's about 28. Now we see the huge grouping. And basically, I'm not going to go and check each range. We're going to look for what dart fell where. Starting to see some of the AccuStrikes. The AccuStrikes are going to be the orange. This is basically right here where all of the Elites and AccuStrikes are. The Elites and these are the AccuStrike copies. If it's white, it's an Elite from the Modulus line. Actually, these are all the AccuStrike copies. All of them. Looking at all of them, none of these are Elites. Okay, so AccuStrikes and AccuStrike copies are all here. And just for reference, that's at the 41 foot mark. So around another 5 feet, because I had the camera set up behind the start of the tape. So about 46 feet, and those are perfectly level shots. And we also have the entire group of, well, the remainder. There's actually 3 total, 1, 2, and the first one way back there of the waffle tip darts from Dart Zone. Here are all of the rest of them. And here's another one there. Yes, that's all of them. Okay, and they're slightly shorter. So a bit worse performance. That's actually about 5 feet less than the AccuStrikes and AccuStrike copies, which, you know, that goes to show the AccuStrike copies are performing as well. Okay, let's look. We have X-Shot Excel and our very first Buzzbee long distance dart right here in my hand. We're going to continue walking. Starting to see the Precise Pros pop up and the long distance darts and the rest of the Excel darts, and now we see our Elites. Okay, so just for reference to make this quick, Precise Pro, Precise Pro. That's a long distance, a long distance, a long distance, a Elite, a Excel, a Precise Pro, a Excel, a long distance, a Precise Pro, Excel, a Elite, long distance, long distance. Let's go check this, make sure. Elite. And the winner is actually an Elite dart that sailed all the way out here. This is saying 63, but I was 5 feet behind, so 68 feet with level shots out of a Mediator, which is not a high performance blaster. But the Precise Pros, the long distance darts, the Excel darts, some of the Excel darts, and the Elites all had good range. And falling behind was the AccuStrikes and the copies of the AccuStrikes. They were all in this general area. We had some very poor performances out of some of the Excel darts. There's one AccuStrike, and some of the waffle tip darts. What that would show would be inconsistency in barrel fit. See, there's a Excel, and the worst performer was one of the Dart Zone waffle tips. And overall, I'm seeing the Dart Zone waffle tips. That's all the green. That's the only green dart that I fired. They are overall the worst performer in the Mediator. Something to keep in mind. Now we're going to cut and go to the consistency test, which I'll set up here in just a second. Okay, here we are on the consistency or accuracy portion. I prefer the term consistency myself because I'm not necessarily looking to see if the darts hit the bullseye. I'm looking to see how consistently they go in the same grouping. That's the term that target shooters use, in that you want to see, specifically when I was a target shooter with air rifles, we tested out different pellets to see where the grouping fell. Now, certain pellets would fare better than others and produce, you know, a very tight pattern in the paper compared to others. For instance, my pellet of choice is Crossman's Olympic match grade pellets, which I buy by the 500 for about $20. And they are extremely consistent, and I can, at this short range of about 15 meters or so, which for those of you, I'll let you do the conversion. But at 15 meters, I can punch bullseyes left and right with my match pistol. But when it comes to Nerf, I'm looking to see that target board is the same one I've used before. It is approximately 6 feet tall by 2 feet wide, or give or take roughly the size of a full adult male who's very blocky. But we're going to start with the gold standard, if you want to call it gold standard. Old reliable. No, it's not reliable either. Venerable? Okay, yeah, we'll go with that. The Venerable Nerf Elite darts. And here we go. Again, I'm firing it out of a modified Nerf Recon Mark II running full Orange ModWorks internals, and I am going to fire this from a rested position using my lawn chair. Here we go. That sailed about 50 feet past the target, went everywhere but hitting it. Okay, that again swirled. Again. Shot number 3. Shot number 4. It's going everywhere but the target. Okay. I got 1 shot left. Nope. Okay. Literally 0 hits out of Nerf Elites. Can the X-Shot Excel darts fare a little better? Here we go. Hey, we got a hit. Nope. Nope. Hey, it hit the board. So already we're doing a little bit better. That's no better. There we go. We're 3 so far. 4. And that one actually hit the target. Last shot coming in. And it hit the top corner. So, consistency under 110 or 115 foot per second velocity already. The X-Shot Excel darts are doing a little better than Nerf's Elites. So here we go. Busby long distance darts. Doing the same swirling. That went to the next postal code. That decided it wanted to take out a bird somewhere in the sky. Okay, checking. I got 3 shots left, it looks like. Hey, dead center. And last shot coming up. Last, Busby long distance. No joy on that one. Moving on to what I suspect to be the more accurate darts of the last half of the group here. Got the waffle tips from Dart Zone. Of course, also available through Venture Force at Walmart's. Here we go. I'm using the same aiming point. I'm putting my sight right dead center on the red target at the top. That one just hit the boom co. Hit a little low again, but still dead center. Low and to the right. Low and to the right. Low to the left. Low to the right. Almost dead center. Let's check it. 3 more shots remaining. Very low, but still mostly centered. Dead center, but low. And last shot. Ooh, super low. That was a terrible, terrible performer. Okay, now we're going to go on to the AccuStrike copies from NF Strike. We got a sticky magazine catch in this recon. If you hear me rattling with the blaster, that's why. Okay, again, aiming in, dead center. That's not bad. Much better velocity straight out of the muzzle. And hitting very consistently slightly to the left. Very consistently to the left. Again, just to the left. To the right. To the left again. And very close to the target. To the left again. Let's check that. Last shot. Here we go. Yes, most of those are to the left. That proves very nice consistency. Not necessarily looking for bullseyes. I mean, that'd be great always. But very good consistency is what I'm looking for. This is the AccuStrikes. Forgot to show those on the screen, but you already seen the first one hit actually in the target. A little high and to the right, but on the target. A little low to the right. Slightly low to the right. Slightly low to the right. Ooh, dead center. And just a touch to the right. To the right. High to the left. High to the left. Missed the board completely. And here comes the last shot. Low to the left. Actually a little less consistency than their off-brand copy. Last but not least, Busby Precise Pros. Right at the bottom right. Dead center, but a little low. That one pulled. Didn't have the slide all the way forward. Dead center, a little low. Right on target. To the right though. Almost dead center, but a little low. A little low to the right. Ooh, almost dead center. Check it. I have 2 shots left. Ooh, almost dead center. And this should be the last shot. Bullseye. That's a good way to end. Okay, let's go to the workbench for my final thoughts. I'm going to cut this very short for those of you who just want to find out what is the best dart. I've made no attempt to hide in past videos on this channel, if you're a returning viewer, that I love the Busby Precise Pro. This thing offers basically unrivaled consistency in thousands of shots fired. Very good velocity actually, despite having a heavier weight tip to it. And it is very, very durable. The foam quality is significantly and noticeably higher than the other darts. And that is part of the cost. It has more engineering into it, as well as the foam itself is actually better. Under high velocity, I've never split one of these open. I've never had chunks taken out of these. I've never tore one. I've never lost a tip. These are extremely durable darts, no matter what velocity you're firing under. And I have fired these all the way up to 200 plus feet per second. So, very, very good durability, extremely good consistency, and good velocity. That's the trifecta of a dart. The only catch is they cost a lot. You know, by comparison, you buy a pack of these through Walmart and you get, you know, a few dozen of them for about $9. That adds up. Through Kmart, you get a couple dozen of them or there might only be a dozen. Been a little bit since I bought them for $5.99. But the cost adds up. If you're trying to build up a big bin of them, you know, if you want to have 400, 500, 600 of them, that adds up. You know, I have a bin of about 500 of them myself, and it's taken some money to get there. But expense spared, no expense spared, this is the best dart on the market. Nothing has changed. The experience I have with the dart, you've seen some of my intros, I can hit a soda can or a coffee tin from 75 feet away with these things and knock them down when they're stacked up, as you've seen in one of the intros. And you've seen me hit, and one of my intros is me hitting the camera from 50 feet away. That's actually very good. That's very good to hit. My camera is a small Sony. I can hit it from 50 feet away. That's how good these darts are. They are the best. No argument. Doesn't mean the rest are worse, or I should say, it doesn't mean the rest are horrendous. Or does it? The Busby Long Distance, as much as I love Busby, this is not a good dart overall. Neither is the Nerf Elite. Neither is the X-Shot Excel dart. What you want a dart to do is when you fire it, you want it to hit a target. None of the three of these are any good at that. They all have pretty good performance, pretty good velocity, and they're reasonably priced. Except for this guy. This guy's expensive for some reason, and Nerf doesn't give you very many with a blaster. But they all lack, and severely lack, accuracy. So I can't recommend any of them. There is one little neat catch. The X-Shot Excel dart is so much shorter than the other darts that it works in some older blasters like the Busby Tommy 20. And it's very, very cheap. You can buy Dollar General sells packs of 30 of these for $3. So, and X-Shot gives you tons of these in with blasters. So cheap dart, that's an option just because of cheapness. And it's available everywhere, you know, Dollar Generals and Walmarts and whatnot. So it's a cheap option, but it's not a good option. Neither is the long distance dart. Very, very good performance out of both the Elite and the long distance darts. They'll fly like crazy, but they go everywhere. No consistency at all. You can fire 50 shots at somebody and you might never hit them. So that brings us to the newcomer. I had a review earlier of this dart, and at first I had a favorable opinion of it, and that's changed. I now no longer will recommend this dart to anybody. The performance is terrible. After this I had a batch of new ones, and already during my test firing, I actually destroyed a dart. There's one of them destroyed. What happens with these is the foam quality is terrible. I mentioned how good the Busby Precise Pros are. These things are terrible. You can see that rip right there. And what happens is as soon as air goes into the dart, it explodes. Because the foam is so cheap. And the tip's heavy, it weighs it down. And you've seen that actually in my range test and with the consistency test. It just it hardly hit the target. It was falling to the bottom. And that's because they're heavy, and that cheap foam will not hold up after wear. I've actually lost tons of them. These all have that exact same tear. And that's just a portion of them that I just kept just for reference. But in my firing, just between the range test and the consistency test, that means the dart only got fired twice. One of them had that same tear. That's terrible. I can't recommend these at all. I don't care if they're cheaper and available at Walmart. I can't recommend them. I've had too many failures. They're just not a good dart. Now, you can feel free to disagree. My personal experience is that I lost about 40 of them to the tearing. I can't recommend that. 40 out of a batch of 200 that I bought for testing, that's 1/5 of them have failed. That is that's a 20% failure rate. That's terrible. None of the other darts came anywhere near that. I haven't ever had a Precise Pro fail. So, long term, those actually end up costing because you have to replace them more often. Which brings us to the last two. The AccuStrike and the AccuStrike Copy. AccuStrikes are a decent alternative to Precise Pros. They're not as good in performance, they're not as good in consistency, and they cost almost as much. But, you know, they're an alternative. However, brings me to this. The best alternative to the Busby Precise Pro. If you don't want to pay for the premium performance of the Precise Pro, go grab these. I'll put a link to these. I'm probably only going to link the Precise Pro and these. I'll link my 2 recommended darts. For premium performance, Precise Pro. For an alternative, go with this. This is from NF Strike. These AccuStrike copies provide most, you'd say 90 to 95% of the performance, consistency, and durability is the only issue they have. Performance consistency, they provide it. Durability, some of the tips will pop off due to a inferior glue being used and not enough of it. So that's the only problem. But they cost pennies on the dollar, and you can buy thousands of these, literally. I'll put a link to where you can find them, and I'll put a link to a couple places where you can get the Precise Pros. But that's what it comes down to. Top performance, unquestionably, the Busby Precise Pro still reigns supreme. As a good alternative, get an AccuStrike copy. That's not groundbreaking information for people in the hobby, but for those of you who are just searching for a good dart, there you go. Again, links to both of these in the description below. And I'll take the time to mention, if you stuck all the way to the end of the video, I thank you for watching all of this. Hopefully it's very informative. It takes me a lot of time to put this together, but I hope it helps. And if you do like my content, say so in the comments below. Let me know what you think. Give the video a thumbs up if you liked it. And don't if you don't. But if you do, stick around and check out more content. Again, this is Mongoose Jake with my full in-depth analysis of Nerf darts and how good or bad that each one is. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed it.